Cast. Me, my friend Jay, Karen Crazy Lady, possible serial killer as said by J.E.M., and the entitled kid. Quick context. Jay is autistic and has major ADHD, so he has some extreme emotions, which saved me and me. Well, I'm deaf. He knows enough sign to get around. With me. Let us set the scene. It is a crowded trampoline park around Christmas time and very loud, according to Jay. And we are doing the joust thing with those sticks with foam. If you know it, you know it. After a few rounds, we signed for a sec with the simple, I will beat you, no matter what, mentality. Quick warning, I didn't hear any of this and had it relayed to me by Jay. In the middle of our conversation, EK comes up. Why aren't you guys talking like normal people? Also, why is he moving his hands like that? Mind you, this kid looked about 11 or 12. Jay, he's deaf, man. Leave it. EK, what the heck does deaf mean? He looks at him like he is stupid, most likely uninformed. Jay, it means he can't hear. If you even think of picking on him or being remotely mean, you will have a black eye. EK, okay, he can't hear, but why are you moving your hands like that? Jay, it's called sign language. It is the only way he can communicate. EK just looked at him and ran in tears to his mom for whatever reason. We continue to fight and are evenly matched, so the thing took a while. When we were done, we went to get an IC and just chat, sign. While we were there, by the worst stroke of luck, EM and EK noticed us and started walking towards us so loud, I swear I could feel the vibrations. At this point, I knew everything that happened and was completely dumbfounded. Again, most of this is through Jay. EM, excuse me, you need to stop. You are scaring my son. He looked fine. Jay, what are we doing to scare your child? You are throwing up gang signs. I know a future terrorist when I see one. Jay laughs hysterically. Okay, still wheezing. Okay, just go mind your own business, lady. I am calling the police and they will arrest you. Okay, bye. Spray on tan. If you lay a single atom of your finger on him, you gonna regret it. Yes, he actually called her this. We went back to the trampolines. About 9 minutes later, we went to the bathroom. Don't jump after drinking water, kids. We came out of the bathroom and lo and behold, 3 police officers standing there. Oh, crap. For those of you who read my last story, I took your advice. I have a business card that says, I'm deaf. Speak up. It won't help, but it'll be funny. I showed the card to the cops and they went to a few employees, Jay said to find a person who knew better ASL than him. An officer took Jay aside. The other 2 came back with an employee with a very confused look on her face. For this next part, it's me, a cop, and an employee, only interpreting. Police. I was called here for a possible terrorist threat. Me. Terrorist threat? What are you talking about? Police. According to EM, you and your friend were secretly discussing something, and her kid was mortified by it. Okay. Me and my friend were signing. And she told us she would call the police if we didn't stop. I see. The officer writes something on a notepad. Nay, look, man, I'm really sorry that your valuable time is being wasted on this crap. Thank you for serving. You're welcome, kid. We'll get this all figured out. Now, if you wouldn't mind waiting on that bench. No worries. 10 minutes later, the 3rd cop comes back with CCTV footage and says I'm free to go. Niamze left ASAP. Gave my dog pets and went to his house where I was still staying. My parents get home Friday. We'll discuss pressing charges about what happened at the mall then. Seriously, not my week. This happened about 5 or 6 years ago. At the time, I recently dropped out of college and moved back in with my mom. I was trying to earn some money and save up until I had a plan to move out and start my life elsewhere. So in the meantime, I got a slightly higher than minimum wage job at a sandwich chain called Schlotsky. The job wasn't bad at all. I worked with kind and interesting people and the work was rarely ever too much stress. The only thing that ever made the job a pain was when customers would complain or make a big fuss out of a mistake in their order or a misunderstanding resulting usually in a quick look at the receipt, and normally that would fix the problem. usually with just a new sandwich or a free mini cinnamon roll that had sat on the counter all day, and that would usually be the end of it. However, one night things got a bit more ridiculous. A rather large woman, not tall, just large, came in, visibly upset, with a bag clenched in her hand. It was just 15 minutes before we closed up for the night. We were cleaning things and putting stuff away. She comes up to me working register and says, "Y'all messed up my order. Y'all need to fix it now." I reply with my most customer-friendly, of course. "Ma'am, what seems to be the trouble?" "Her, I just told you all messed up my order. Fix it now." "Nay, yes, ma'am. I understand. What is wrong with your order?" Her, I ordered 2 large turkey sandwiches, 3 large beef, and 4 kids' turkey sandwiches. But you only gave me the 2 large turkey, 1 large ham, and 4 kids' turkeys. Me. Oh my gosh, I am so sorry. I'm sure it was just a mistake on our part. Do you have the receipt? Her. Yes. She hands me the crumpled receipt. Me. Okay. Looks like the order is what you said. Can I see the sandwiches in the bag to confirm what's wrong and missing? Her. No. Why would you need to do that? Me. Well, because I need to make sure that the sandwiches you said are wrong are in fact wrong. Her. Are you calling me a liar? Me. No, ma'am. It's just store policy to check incorrect orders for confirmation. Her. You just called me a liar. Get me your manager. Now. Me. Right away, ma'am. I get my manager and fill him in on the detail while we make our way back to the register. She goes off, "You messed up my order, and that jerk called me a liar and a thief just because I'm black and he can't make a sandwich right." Manager. Okay, ma'am. I'm sorry for the trouble. Can I see the receipt? She hands it to him. He looks at it and says, "Ma'am, this receipt is from this morning. Did you not notice something was wrong with the order until now?" Her. Who cares when it was ordered? Manager. Fair enough. Then can I see the sandwiches in the bag? Her completely losing it at this point. Why do you need to see the other sandwiches? I already told you what was wrong. Just fix it and give me my 3 large beef sandwiches so I can go home already. Manager, I can't do that until I confirm the order is wrong. Otherwise, anyone could just say their order is wrong and get free food. She starts screaming and throwing things across the store. She grabs the display with the different sizes of bread to show customers the sizes and types of bread we have and throws it at my manager. She runs her arms over the counter to knock down as much as possible. My manager just tries to avoid the thing she's throwing and says, "Ma'am, get out. You are no longer welcomed at this store or any Schlotsky's. If you stay any longer, I will call the police." She finally leaves, cursing and pushing tables and chairs on the way out. My manager apologizes for me having to deal with her. I didn't care all that much. I just wonder why she was so hell-bent on not showing us what was in the bag, like you brought the receipt in the bag into the store. Why bring the bag if you aren't willing to show what's inside? I, 22 female, live at home. We have a neighbor, M, who is renting out the rooms in his house to Karen. She has been living in the room now for about a year. She has 3 cars for no reason. 2 are Camrys and the other is a Sentra. Before she moved in, my sister and I would always park in front of our house. My dad made it a point that we were to only park in front of our house because 1, he thinks it's rude to park in front of neighbors' houses because it's front their property, and 2, we have security cameras that are only pointed at our property, so if something were to happen to our cars, it would be on camera. Now that Karen lives there, she parks 1 car in the driveway, another in the middle of the street in front of our neighbor's house, and the other Camry in front of our house. There's no room for another car anywhere. The street that can fit 4, maybe 5 cars now, only has 2 cars on it. My sister and I don't have anywhere to park, so we have to go to the neighborhood to park. A while ago, my dad put the trash cans in front of our house as usual, and when I was coming home from work, I got stuck behind the trash picker-upper guy, and he passed our house. I noticed that the trash can was up on the curb, and Karen was parked where the trash cans were supposed to be. They're usually on the street, and once it emptied, Dad takes it to the house. The trash was full. Karen moved our trash cans to park in front of our house. I ran the trash can to another block to see if the trash guy would still take it. Another neighbor, B, saw me doing this and helped. B helped me bring them back and told my dad what happened. Dad went over to Karen's and told her never to touch the trash cans again and to stop parking in front of our house. He explained why cameras, my daughters can't park, etc. It is now December, and it has not stopped. My dad called M and asked him to talk to Karen. We heard M yelling at Karen, but it still hasn't changed anything. A few days ago, she parked the Camry in front of our house and took the Sentra out. When I got home, I decided to park in front of her, blocking my parents' driveway and leaving no room for her to get out from the front. My sister got home and I had her park behind Karen's Camry and left her no room behind either. The next morning, I was getting ready with the window open and Karen asked me to move one of the cars so she could leave and that she was running late. I told her that I was taking a shower and she'd have to wait. It's not my fault she's running late, and if this was such a problem, she should stop taking up so much space with two little cars. She struggled for 20 minutes but did end up getting out. Since then, I've been doing this daily and my family and other neighbors help by telling me how close to get. Eventually, after a while, she got the message and stopped parking any of her cars in front of our house. I was re-listening to some Reddit stories, and one of the stories reminded me of the times I get asked for stuff. That Reddit post was about someone wearing a green shirt in a Target about car parts. Context. I work at a stadium, and we couldn't keep our uniforms in our lockers, so we have to come into work with it on. I live in an area that requires me to take a ferry to commute to work. Many of my co-workers and one of my bosses does this. We are constantly asked questions regarding the ferry system when we are wearing uniforms indicating the stadium we work for. This particular incident happened earlier this year during the regular season. My boss and I are just leaving the ferry terminal after traveling a good 40-minute ferry trip because we tend to carpool, but his car is a good distance away, so we have to walk. I have asthma and shorter legs than him. As I am taking my time to breathe, this couple, man and woman, with a thick, I think, Eastern European accent, is asking me questions about the ferry, including where they could buy tickets to get on the boat. They were in their car, while I wasn't. I did my best to cut the conversation short to get out of there and catch up to my boss, but every attempt to do so was them asking more questions. Questions consist of, where do we buy tickets? How do we get on the boat? Where is the line? I was a walk-on passenger, so where I bought tickets was different for a car ticket. I explained to them that they had to go back in that line where the stoplight was, and they just bypass everyone to come over here, and that those tickets are at that window and not in the terminal. Plus, there was the fact that I don't work for the ferry system and I work somewhere else, which is plainly on my uniform. Then they repeated. I gave up. Luckily, my boss, who is well over 6 foot in his late 50s, came back over and was like, hey, what is going on? I explained briefly to him, and then he turned to the couple and literally repeated what I said back to them, saying that we don't work for the ferry and you need to get back in that line over there at the intersection, etc. They lamented that now they have to go to the back of the line because of that. We even asked them if they were going by foot or car because those lines are different. Well, thank God my boss came to help me, and we even joke how I look like an information booth and that I tend to get into situations where I don't work for this company like this. This is almost a weekly situation of being asked regarding ferries, but this one I remember most because of how creepy it was in general. Almost all of my coworkers who take the ferries get asked at least once. ETA. As stated in a comment below, I am a 29 female on autism spectrum. People tend to listen to my male coworkers more than me, though I have a loud voice. It's nice having backup when needed. I get asked questions on a constant basis, not just at this place, but many other areas I don't work at or not in charge of. I help my mom with her business, and we sell at events so people think we are an info booth. I had people try to get touchy-feely with me before and just experienced that last year, so I was trying to prevent a repeat. The questions they asked were already answered. It was better for my boss to help answer.